Hi everybody, we are back for Organic Chemistry Lesson 2, and today we're going to work on naming simple hydrocarbons or naming alkanes. There's some things you have that go along with this lesson. The first thing is the guided notes. So they are on Brightspace. You can open them up. They say naming simple hydrocarbons. You can open them up and fill them in as we go. Or if you want to, you can kind of use a separate sheet of paper while we get into drawing some of these. That might be a little bit easier. I guess naming, not drawing. The other thing that's going to go along with this is your worksheet for tomorrow, or your practice sheet for tomorrow, which is this one that's naming alkanes. There'll be another video to go through that one. But for today, we're going to go through this note set and talk about how do we name something that has one step beyond what we were doing last week. So just to remind you that we are going to be looking at carbon here because carbon structure allows it to have 4 bonds, 1 on each side, makes it special, makes it allowed to make these organic compounds. You also have this set of prefixes. We are going to be using these for our alkanes. Today we're going to be doing alkanes. The way you can tell a compound is an alkane is it only contains single bonds between its carbon atoms, and these are the prefixes that we would use. And you slap a prefix on, and then these all end in the ending ane. Alkanes end in ane. So if there's 1 carbon, it's methane. So these are going to come in handy today. We're going to have to know what the prefixes are. All right, so this is our first alkane that we're going to be naming. And notice that it looks a little different from the ones we were doing before because it has this kind of side branch that comes off that's going to make it a smidge harder to name. So first thing you want to do when you're naming these alkanes is you want to find the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. It doesn't have to be a straight line, just how many carbons you can get in a row, and that's called the parent chain. So for this one, we could do carbons in a row like 1, 2, 3, 4. We could also do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So 4 is the most carbons we can get in a row. It could either go in a straight line this way, or it could kind of go in reverse and turn. So we know that there's going to be 4 carbon atoms on our parent chain. So we are going to state the number of carbon atoms using the appropriate prefix and ending in an ane. So if I have 4 atoms, and I go back and look at my chart, 4 corresponds to the prefix but. So this would be a butane compound. Butane. Okay. Branches are going to be called alkyl groups, and we want to have the side chains or the alkyl groups coming off of the lowest possible number carbon atoms. So when we find our parent chain, we want to have all the side pieces coming off at the lowest possible carbon atom. So for this one, remember we could do forward 1, 2, 3, 4. We could do 1, 2, 3, 4. For this one, if we number it from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, our side chain comes off of the number 2 carbon. If we were to have numbered it the other way, our side chain would have come off the number 3 carbon. So I know that I have to number it this way because I need that side chain to come off the lowest possible carbon atom. So I could label my butane 1, 2, 3, 4, just like it is on this picture, so that the side chain is the lowest number. Then we're going to name our alkyl groups based on how many carbons they have. So it's the same set of prefix, methyl, ethyl, propyl, but, all that, except that their side chains are not going to end in ane. They're going to end in that YL sound because it's an alkyl group. So for our side chain here, I have one carbon coming off the side. So one is meth, and it's an alkyl group, so it's methyl. Methyl is the name of our side chain. When we name the branches, we are going to put them in alphabetical order. If more than one branch have the same number of carbon atoms, we're going to use the prefixes di, tri, or tetra. So if I had 2 methyl groups, I would say dimethyl. If I had 3, ethyl groups, I would say triethyl. So if I have multiple side chains, I'm going to use those prefixes. This is going to make a lot more sense when we start actually doing them. So for this one, if I'm going to name this one, I'm going to have my base name is going to be butane. I'm going to have a methyl group coming off of my number 2 carbon. So I'm going to state the name of the alkane by using each branch, then naming the parent. I'm going to use commas between numbers and hyphens between numbers and branches. So I'm going to start by writing what carbon the group is coming off of. So I'll put in number 2. It's a methyl group, and the parent chain is butane. So this compound is called 2-methylbutane. The good thing about organic compounds is once you know how to name them, you can say them, and then you sound super smart. So there are 4 on your note sheet that we are going to go through. I'm going to pause for a second so that I can get like my drawing tools up and figure out how to do that. So I will be right back. Okay, got my first example pulled up here. And the first thing I need to do when naming these alkanes is I need to find the parent chain where I have the most carbons in a row. So I'm just going to start looking and I'm going to start counting. And I might need to do this a couple times depending on if I find it right away. So I could have a branch that goes... All right, I'm looking for my parent chain. So I can count my carbons this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, which would give me a parent chain of 4. Let's try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more there. So I know 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I keep getting 5 over and over and over again. So I know my parent chain is going to be at least 5 carbons. And now I need to figure out, okay, if I have 5 carbons, I want to number it so that side branches would be the lowest possible number. So let's try to do this way. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would have a side branch coming off of 2, and I'd have a side branch coming off of 4. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would give me a side branch off of 2 and a side branch off of 4. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, which give me a side branch off of 2, a side branch off of 3, and a side branch off of 4. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is my parent chain. So I would label 1 carbon, 2 carbon, this would be 3, this would be 4, and this would be 5. If you were to label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to get the same name. It's just you want to make sure your branches are coming off the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So numbering the parent chain is right there. Then I'm going to name the branches. So I'm going to switch colors here, maybe. A nice green color. I have a side branch right here, a side branch here, and a side branch here. And each of my side branches contain one carbon. So I have methyl groups because they are one carbon. And I have 3 of them. So the prefix for 3 is tri. So my branches here would be trimethyl. And finally, I'm going to name this compound. My names start with the branches or the numbers that the side chains come off of. So the first number is going to be 2 because I have a side chain coming off of the 2 carbon. I also have a side chain coming off of 3 and 4. I'm going to put a dash to separate my numbers from my words. So I have 2, 3, 4. I'm going to name my side chain trimethyl. This is fun to watch me do. Trimeth. To name my side chains. And then the parent name goes on the end. So if I have a parent group with 5, the prefix for 5 was pent. Pent. And then a end in ane. There we go. So we got 2, 3, 4, trimethyl pentane is the name of this compound. See, I told you you'd sound smart. All right, we're going to try this one, and we're going to go through the same steps. We're going to find the parent chain, number the parent chain, name the side groups, and then finally name the compound. So parent chain, I want to find that longest row of carbons. So I'm going to start, if I can make that straight line across, it's going to make my life easier. So I'm going to check that out first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons. I could do 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to have a 5 carbon chain. All of the combinations, the biggest number of carbons in a row I can get is 5. Now I have to figure out which direction can I label it in that my side branches come off the lowest number. So if I start on the left to right and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'd have a side chain coming off of the 2 carbon and the 4 carbon. If I did it backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, same thing, 2 carbon, 4 carbon. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 carbon, 4 carbon. So all of these are going to end up, no matter if I do it left to right or right to left or straight line, I'm going to get a 2 and a 4 side chain. So I'm going to make it the easiest as I can and make this straight line my parent chain. And I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 be my parent chain. So steps 1 and 2 are done. I have a parent chain. It is numbered. Now I'm going to name my side branches. Change to green. I have a side chain here, and a side chain here. They all have 1 carbon, which makes them methyls. There are 3 of them, which makes them a trimethyl. So I have trimethyl for my branches. And finally, I want to name my carbon. Let's see if it'll let me type. Oh my gosh, that's way easier. So I'm going to start with my numbers. So I have 1 chain coming off of the 2 carbon here. I'm going to put a 2. I have another chain coming off of that 2 carbon. I'm going to put another 2. And then I have a chain coming off of the 4 carbon. 2, 2, 4. That's where all my side chains are located. I'm going to put a dash to separate my numbers from my words. And I'm going to name my side branches. They were trimethyl groups. And my final base parent chain had 5 carbons which makes it a pentane. So this one is called 2,2,4-trimethylpentane. I'm not going to walk you through these last two because I like to give you a little trial on your own. But know that my work can be found on Brightspace under the answers for these note sheets. So there's a practice problem 3 that looks like this guy, and a practice problem 4, which is on the next slide. I'm going to leave those blank for you so that you could try them on your own, and then check your work to see if you did them right. This stuff is complex. So if you are struggling right now, that is okay. Tomorrow's video is going to be going through a bunch of examples together so that you can get even more practice naming these alkanes. So good luck, and I will see you on tomorrow's video.